other different types of dementia, and depending upon where the difficulties lie, that in the illness determines the course of treatment.
You can. All you have to do is want to do it.
Yes.
Want to be it.
When you set your mind to it, and this is who you are, and
the grown men. We have the youth that we need to mentor, and we need to inspire, and we need to motivate. But I know, as a recent conversation between you and I, that you're also in the business of motivating grown men. Through that, I'm supposed to see God in it at every turn. So me going to the Sea of Galilee was to remind me of that, to refresh myself of that. It is all under control, that He does have it. It's just as clear as that fresh water that I saw.
You're Our Unity, hosted by LeShawn Walker, Tuesday nights, 6 p.m. PST.
Welcome, everyone, to You're Our Unity, a show that wishes to spread a spirit of peace and love in the world, one conversation at a time. We want to encourage you to spend some time remembering those that you have lost. Your mom, your best friend, your aunt, your grandmother, even your brother or sister, someone that you love deeply that is no longer here, that you miss so very much. I want you to spend some time bringing them to life at this moment. Spend time remembering them and enjoying all the wonderful moments you guys had together. I am your host, LeShawn Walker. I want to welcome you in. Please like, share, and follow. Tag a friend. Let everyone know that we're on right now. Happy Tuesday, everyone. I hope that you had a wonderful week so far. I hope you enjoyed your weekend. It was calm and relaxing. We've been celebrating all month. Mothers, their life, their expectations, just the beautiful things that they have going on in their world, and just the children that they love so deeply. I didn't want to continue celebrating, this month and all the happiness that we all should be celebrating with our parents and our mothers and our grandmothers and our friends without, acknowledging those who have lost their mom or has lost a best friend, a dear friend or aunt or mother figure in their life. I wish you comfort at this time. I wish you, joy. And I hope that you're spending this time bringing, like I said earlier, their spirit to life in you every single day. It's times like this that we should be remembering all the great times that you spent with each other and remembering what they added to your life. I think that even though it's maybe a sad time right now, that it is also a joyful moment to be had and to experience, only because those people are still in your life. They're still walking around you. They're just here in the spirit realm. And you have the opportunity and the obligation to keep them alive every day. I've been doing it. I've been in a funk, for the last couple of days. I've been celebrating quite hard for the last couple of weeks. And, I knew this moment was going to come, and I tried to hold it off as much as possible, keeping myself busy. But this is a sad time for me as well. Even though Mother's Day is happy for me, it's sad because around this time, I lost my best friend. May 29th, actually 6 years on Monday, it will be since I've lost my best friend. Me and her spent so much time together. We had our daughters 2 weeks apart from each other. We raised them together. That's what I miss most about her. The heart that she had, the joy that she had, the just excitement that she had to become a mother. Me and this woman, we did everything together. We had deep conversations. And around this time, I miss her so much. But I got out of the sadness over the weekend. I cried. I'm not going to lie. I remembered and I felt the void. And I remembered that she's not here physically. But as the days went on, I realized my best friend, Sandy Cabrera, will be my best friend forever. And she's here still well and alive in my heart. I keep her alive every single day in what I do, how I think, how I feel, how I treat others, how I act. I keep her alive by speaking to her every day, speaking life into her in heaven, bringing her down here with me. spending those moments, wondering, how she's doing and if she's proud of me and the work that we're doing. Because she was also my business partner, not just my best friend and my sister. She was so much more. So at this time when we are dealing with, missing someone, having that void in our heart for someone, let's try to spend that time bringing them to life. Let's spend that time remembering the great times. Let's put a smile on your face about all the happy times and the fun times and the laughter that you shared with one another. That's what I've been doing. It's been keeping me going for the last couple of days, actually, because Saturday I was out. I relaxed literally the whole entire weekend, sort of just reflecting on everything that, that I miss about not only Sandy, but my girlfriend Tawana and, my friend Monet and all the ones that I just lost too soon. So I guess my message is to you guys out there is to take a moment and just remember these people. Take a moment and just reflect on all the goodness that they brought into your life. Take a moment and just enjoy the fact that you actually even got to know them and got to spend time with them, because I think that's important as well. The people that I've lost, these amazing women that are no longer here, that I celebrate right now in this moment, knowing that their daughters, their children miss them even more than I do. These women were just amazing in every single right. And they care deeply for not only, me as a friend, and I'm sure so many others, but their daughters as well, and their sons. And I'm sure that they're missing what they could have been adding to their life at this moment. So please just take some time, enjoy the good times that you shared with the loved ones that are no longer here. I don't want to make you sad, because it's not going to be a sad show. I'm all about happiness, but I just did want to extend that to you guys out there that have been seeing me celebrate every week and not acknowledging the fact that there are some of us out there that, don't have the luxury of having our mother still here or our best friend still here. I'm dealing with it, and I just want to extend my heart to you guys. So I want to talk to you today about another amazing woman who has a special heart. It's all about Mother's Day month, and I'm celebrating another mother, a special mother, a mother who has a special heart. Her name is Nina Rohlehr. Nina grew up in Elmont, New York. She is a single mom of 2 beautiful children and works in special education for the Elmont Union Free School District. Nina is a former Girl Scout leader and robotics coach and is a proud sports mom and a dedicated community member. Nina is a caring and loving mom who heart beats for her children. She is here to have a little heart-to-heart with us. So please help me welcome the lovely Miss Nina Rohlehr. Hello there, my friend.
Oh, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm great.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much for being here. You're out in the sunshine. Girl, I wish I was out there with you. How is your day going?
So far, so good.
Oh, that's
Up and running. Always up and running like always.
Yeah, no, I totally can imagine. I mean, I know you got your plate full, my friend. In addition to that, how was your Mother's Day?
It was wonderful. My sister came up to visit from Maryland,
Oh, nice.
and the Friday before Mother's Day, she treated my mother and I to the Anita Baker and Babyface concert over here at the UBS Arena.
Oh, wow. That's
Yes,
beautiful.
and it just so happened my 40th birthday was the day before.
Oh, well, happy belated birthday, Nina. I didn't know that.
Thank you. Thank you.
To
So
look at.
I had a wonderful weekend. It was full, busy, but I enjoyed it.
No, that sounds amazing. It sounds like you had a spectacular, not only birthday, but Mother's Day, and people loved on you. Your sister traveled all the way up from Maryland. I think that's delightful. I did the same thing. I celebrated my sister. She's no longer here, but her birthday was on the 11th. And then on the 14th, we all went to the beach just to honor and memorialize her. But my daughter was at that Anita Baker concert. She said it was amazing.
It was. I really enjoyed it.
That's great. Well, again, thank you so much for being here. I want to just, again, keep the conversation going this month. I'm talking all about mothers and just how much we enjoy our jobs, what we do, what we sacrifice, how we contribute to our children's lives, and the special hearts, voices, and the love that we have to have. And I know that you are one of those moms. You're a single mom. You're a mom also of a special needs child. So I want to talk about that. But first, I want to know a little about your childhood. Can you tell us a little about, how you grew up, where you grew up, and, what your childhood was like?
I grew up here. I grew up right here in Elmont with my parents and my two siblings. I was special needs myself,
Okay.
and I had the smaller class sizes. But I mean, always had a lot of friends. It was a lot of us on the block that I grew up on.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of having a special needs child with me understanding and me being in her shoes at one point, it just made it a little bit easier
Mm.
for me to understand what she's going through.
Wow.
And my mom, her pediatrician and her pre-K teacher at the time
Mm-hmm.
picked up on some stuff like with her speech and her having trouble retaining information.
Okay, well, wait. You said that you also had special needs as a child when you were growing up.
Yes,
In what
that's
regard?
right. I was diagnosed dyslexic.
Okay.
So I had the smaller class sizes, like a 12-to-1, which would be one teacher, 12 kids, and two aides.
I see what
So
you're saying.
that was pretty much all of my schooling, like
Right.
elementary to high school.
Oh, wow. Well, did you find the classes, and the small setting that you were in beneficial to that learning disorder?
Yes, it did. It helped a lot. And it's like having that one-to-one interaction with with the teachers, the aides, it kind of helped push me through, like, well, I guess when I said I had some difficulties. So having that extra push and those caring people
Right.
made it a lot better.
Right. Let me ask you about that. I mean, because you're a child and you're trying to keep up, obviously, with the curriculum as well as the other students. Did you experience any level of frustration? Did you realize that you had this learning issue, or tell me a little about that.
I had the frustration, yes, but I didn't feel that I was different from anyone, and my parents didn't make me feel that I was any different from my siblings or the other children I was around.
Right, right. That's excellent. That's amazing. You did say that you still, had a normal childhood upbringing in terms of, a good support of friends and a good group of friends, positive, sort of atmosphere you were living in. No bullying. You didn't experience anything like that.
No, not at all.
That's great. That's wonderful. So I understand you grew up in Elmont, correct?
Yes,
And you're still there after all of these years.
yes. So we've been in Elmont. Look, we've been in Elmont since '85.
Wow, that's wonderful. I understand the school district out there. It's really amazing. It's really good, right?
Yes, it is.
That's
And
good.
it's like I have friends who have children that are special needs that moved to the boroughs and shortly moved back after because they felt the services that they got here, like the services in the boroughs, couldn't compete to what their children were getting in Elmont School District, so Wanaka District.
Mm.
So they shortly moved back this way once they realized their kids weren't getting what they felt they should get or what they could have gotten.
Right. I see what you're saying. All right. So again, we are talking about motherhood. So not going to get into how old you were when you had your son, but you only have two children, right? You have a 16-year-old son and then you have your daughter. Tell us a little about you becoming a mother for the first time, what your thoughts were. Did were you expecting to be a mother at that time? Were you looking forward to being a mother? And just tell me, what you were feeling at that time when you were, pregnant with your son.
Like with him being that he's the first, it was the usual, the being scared, the nervousness, and wondering, am I gonna be a good mother to my child when the child gets here?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally get that.
Yeah, and it was just me and him for 6 years before I had my daughter.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
so they're 6 years apart.
Wow. So your mom, I know your mom, because I met her. She
Yeah,
plays a big role, I'm sure, in helping you with the kids, correct?
yeah, he definitely does.
Yeah, that's great. Tell me a little about like her role in supporting you when you got pregnant with your son. And what is your son's name?
Jacob.
Jacob. Yes.
Yes, when I first got pregnant, I was scared to death to tell her.
Mm,
Because it's like I really wasn't sure of her reaction. So that nervousness is just like, okay, how do I tell her? And it's just like, I just might as well tell her.
yeah.
And she, like with everything, I think she was a little bit upset initially, but then she came around to it.
Right.
And then once I had him, she just jumped in naturally, as I guess a first time grandmother would.
Right. I love that. I love that. As you were growing up, I asked my previous guest this. Did you have an idea, like looking at your mother while you were growing up, exactly what that role meant, how important it was, what she, was actually doing for you, how much she was contributing to you? Did you get an idea of that at a young age?
It's like I got an idea of that once I was a little bit older, like more of my teenage years.
Mm.
Because like when I would say like when I was maybe 11 and younger, it's like okay, it's mom. She's there to support, protect, provide.
Yeah.
But I got more of an idea once I was older.
Okay.
And once I became a mother myself, it just kind of opened my eyes a little bit more, looking back at my younger years with her and
Yeah.
my siblings.
All right. I get that. Do you have siblings?
Yes, I have a brother and a sister.
Okay. All right.
So
Nice.
together it's three of us.
Oh, wow. You had a nice, close knit, relationship with them growing up?
Yes,
Oh,
yes, we
beautiful.
did. We're all 3 years apart, so we were very, very close. And
Oh,
I gather and I want to say we're still close now.
oh, nice. I love that. I like showing, our children that, that you have a close bond with your brother and sister or step brother and sister. I think that's really important. So, okay, you now are pregnant with your son. I understand you're scared. I think we all are when we first find out that we're about to be mothers. Were you in a relationship at the time? And I don't want to get nosy or anything, but were you going to be a single mom even in this time? Because I know that must have been a huge challenge for you, and especially within the fear of being a mom itself.
Well, we were together for a good deal of time, and things happened that I wasn't going to tolerate, that
Right.
I didn't really want to have, even if I didn't think I was going to have any more children, but I just being needing to protect myself and mine. There was
Right.
certain stuff I just didn't want for them to be around in their presence that I didn't feel was okay, that I wasn't doing myself.
Right. Oh, I love that. So you just said, if I have to do this by myself, I will. Tell me about
Right.
what your feelings were about raising a young man, by yourself.
That in itself was scary because it's just like you've met him and he's by all means not a small child, but it's like now with everything going on in the world,
Mhm.
I know when people see him, they don't think 16-year-old child if his back is turned.
Yeah. Yeah.
They think he's a lot older than what he is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like those are my fears of like him being out and somebody mistaking him for an adult and he isn't.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. Do you or does he have a relationship with his father that can kind of teach him, certain, ways to behave and certain, just life lessons that would be important for him to know as a man, or any mentors?
Like with him and his father, it's on and off, but I do have a really close friend, several close male friends that he can call for anything. And, to teach him the right thing or the conversations he doesn't want to come to mom for. He
Right.
knows he can call. He knows he can call his grandfather, his uncles, and they can have that conversation with him if he doesn't want to come to me.
Yeah, I love that. But you did obviously leave the door open for him to speak to you. Talk to me about, because again, I know men to be taught certain things from other men. They don't less necessarily learn the nurturing, the emotional, the sensitivity, the things like that, that I think sort of helps them become well-rounded young men. Were you aware of, the things that you needed to add to him, despite the fact that he didn't have a father? Or were you more, gung-ho on, making him a man and making him strong and making him a protector? Tell me about that.
I mean, I was gung ho about making him that protector, making sure he was taken care of,
Yeah.
and he's just that protector. Because like when I first had my daughter, he was just shy of being 6,
Wow.
and he said, "I'm my mommy and my sister's bodyguard," and that was his first thing. So
Oh,
he was always in like protector mode, so to
right.
speak.
hmm No, I get it. I get it. And I could see that being, for a young man, he's, your only one, your only child for 6 years. So I can imagine him being a huge protector of you. That's wonderful. So now you have your daughter. She comes in 6 years later. You got this mom thing down, or you still trying to learn a little something? Tell me, tell me about how you were feeling 6 years in.
It's like just like now that I have one and one, I kind of had to gear myself not to be, I guess, so tough or so hard, and I had to kind of learn to be a little bit more gentle
Yeah.
because then I
Yeah.
know I had to put my guard up and like be more on the tough side for my son. So I kind of had to scale it back and learn to be gentle once
Right.
I had my daughter.
Okay. And did you feel that way because you knew you was having a girl, or did you feel that way? Go ahead.
I didn't know I was having a girl at all.
Oh.
I didn't know what I was having the second time around.
Mhm.
So I guess I was like, either way, you never know. It's like could have been another boy, could have been a girl. So I kind of had to, soften myself, so to speak.
Yeah, I get it. I want to dig into that a little bit. You said soften yourself. So obviously over that 6 years of raising your son, you noticed something about you, right? We
Mhm.
forever changing and growing as we're raising our children. Obviously, we are learning how to be parents as well. So what
Right.
did you learn in that 6 years from the time you had him until it was time for you to have your daughter? What was that growth?
That growth was just like it wasn't just me anymore. I had to worry about someone other than me.
Yeah.
So and I had to, evolve with the fact of now that I now is 3 instead of 2.
hmm
So that with that being the case, it's like now I have to protect more than me. I have to protect more than 2.
Yeah.
So now it's the 3 of us. I have to, be on top of protection, provide, make sure they're okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. Let me ask you, what were your expectations um, as a mom, as a first time mom? Um, what did you expect versus what you received?
Um, I was expecting the long nights, and then like once they, were up and walking, them being busy all over the place, not sleeping.
Mhm.
And it's like with my son, he was the one that was up every 2.5 hours at night, feeding, diapers,
Wow.
etc. And then with my daughter, on the other hand, she was the complete opposite. She would go down about 7:45 and would not get back up till 6:45 in the morning. No bottles, no diapers, no. She wouldn't get up for anything.
Wow. That was perfect. Get out of here.
So I went from one extreme to the next
Next. So
with
to me, it
them.
sounds like you still really didn't get any sleep or any rest. Aww. So
Mhm.
let me ask you, what was the most challenging thing for you? I mean, now considering you're a single mom and you're doing your best because you've got this young man that you're raising that I'm sure was a pretty big boy from when he was younger and wanted
Yeah,
to be in every sport and try everything and just all kinds of activity and always in motion. What was the most challenging for you being a single mom at that time without having, that support from his father?
like once I had him enrolled in like youth sports, the age difference between them because it's like she was still too young to cheerlead or to participate in anything. So making sure he was at practices and then keeping an eye on her, it was tough. I felt I was stretched thin,
Mm,
between getting them to and from, like have him at practices or when they both ran track.
right.
I was at track practices sometimes 4 days a week, track meets all day because the young kids would run early, the older kids ran later in the day.
Yeah.
So it was more so trying to keep them involved in stuff and knowing that I had to drag one wherever I went for the other one to have a practice, a game, a
Yeah.
track meet, and one would be bored waiting for the other to finish to keep the other child occupied.
Wow, that sounds like a lot, girl. What did you do for you? What time did you spend on you? It sounds like you're transversing these kids from one end of the town to the next end of the town. When is
I was, I was.
Nina spending some time with Nina? Like, when did you have some time for you to kind of decompress, reset, chill?
And I did have a good deal of time where I didn't work. So, like, once they were both school age and in school,
Mm-hmm.
I had that time for myself to decompress, get myself together, and then, you know, prepare myself for when they did come in at the end of their day.
Yeah,
Or, like, and then once I started working, I worked part time in the school district when I initially started,
right.
and they would leave before me in the morning. So I had that time to get myself together after they would leave before I left for work
Yeah,
and just get my thoughts together.
good. How important is that, do you think? I mean, I'm sure there's moms watching the show and, especially new moms with, multiple kids. And how would you share with them that we take that time? Because I
I
know it's,
feel it's very I know it's very important to take this time. And I mean, even if it's 5 minutes, try to squeeze it in. Even if you know you have to put on YouTube or whatever it is for that 5 minutes, or even if you put them down to sleep, give them dinner, even if you're in the shower, take that time for yourself, even if you have to take that 30-minute shower to
hmm,
clear your head and not hear mommy 5 million times.
yeah.
You have to try to, even if it's 5 minutes, 2 minutes, try to squeeze it in somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's important as well. I mean, even if you do have support and help, I still think that it's important for you to take time for you to reset. I mean, you can't keep pouring all of your energy into others and making sure that everyone else's, job is fine and their tasks are complete without you pouring some love and care into yourself. So I'm glad that you did that, even if it was those little small moments that you were supposed to be alone with yourself anyway. That's so crazy. Oh my God. So you have your daughter. Tell us your daughter's name.
Genesis with a J.
Genesis. I love it. I love it. I've met both of them. They are just amazing kids. So Genesis, you have your beautiful daughter. Obviously, just wanting to dress her up, turn her into a little mini you, right? As soon as she was born.
Right. Yes.
So tell me a little about, her birth and then obviously her growing up and you realizing, with the doctor's diagnosis that, she has this disability, this special need.
Like having her, like after the fact, I did have complications, unfortunately. But I mean, to the point, like I had gotten discharged and ended up being readmitted to the hospital for a whole nother week after I've gotten discharged with her.
Wow. How many
But I
months?
had a lot of,
How many months?
I was full term. She was past her, both my kids were past their due date. But I mean, she was like, I mean, she wasn't even, I might have stayed in the hospital for maybe 4 or 5 days after her because both of mine were C-sections and
Wow.
hers was an emergency. Hers was an emergency. And I was there about maybe 4 or 5 days, and then I was finally cleared to be discharged. And I'm gonna say maybe 24 hours after the fact, I was breathing heavy, so I went back to the hospital, and they had to readmit me for a whole nother week.
Wow.
So, and at the time, my sister was living in Queens Village, so my sister took care of Jacob, make sure he needed what he needed for school, and my mom took care of Genesis for the time being because my sister said she was too scared
Yeah.
to really be responsible for a newborn, which is understandable.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. How were you after? I mean, that sounds like a lot. Actually, kind of traumatic. You're in there for 4 days. She was over her due date. How was the stress on you, and how was that on her?
It's like the stress on her, it was a lot, but like, and they said like me just sitting there, they said if I heard a phone ring, my blood pressure was through the roof. And
Wow.
they only said they said the only time that my blood pressure was pretty normal is when I was asleep.
Mm.
So I
Wow.
had so they said my blood pressure was like a main concern after having her, so they kept me in recovery for a little bit longer.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So you bring her
So it's
home.
like
Go ahead.
I bring her home and we're watching. And the crazy thing is, it was Super Bowl Sunday the day I brought her home.
No
We're
way.
it was Super Bowl Sunday, and and I say honestly, I felt fine. But I guess me walking back and forth, my mother and my sister just heard a change in my breathing, and they
Mm.
just felt something wasn't right. And I was like, I didn't feel right either.
Wow.
So it was just like, come on, let's go back. And then I had to be readmitted for like another 7 days. And so
Wow.
I kind of got everything back under control.
Well, thank God you were aware of all right, and obviously that you took the sign something was wrong, and
Right.
you went back. So healthy ever since then, no issues, no problems. Didn't have to go back for anything. Okay, good. All right. So tell me again about now your newborn, your little girl, and I'm sure Jacob is being ever so protective over her as well. So
Yeah.
how is that now raising a little girl after being the protector of this little boy for 6 years?
It's like I had to soften myself because I guess because me being either way I would have had to be protector, but I kind of had to soften myself
Mm.
and not be as hard as I thought I had to be with Jacob.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I get
So
that.
it's like, so you gotta dial it back and still be protective, but not be so hard. Be a little bit more gentle with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Was that a big adjustment for you or?
It definitely was a big adjustment because it was like I said, I went from just being me and him to now being a party of three.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Do you think he noticed that? Did he notice you was being a little bit nicer well, not nicer, but you know what I mean, a little bit softer
Yes.
with his
Oh,
sister?
he did. He did. He definitely did.
What's his thoughts on that? Because let me tell you something. I got some friends with some pretty angry sons right now because, well,
Oh,
you didn't do this. So tell me a little
but
about that.
I don't think he was angry because he's always been that verbal child to say what was on his mind. Like he didn't hesitate to say how he felt.
Okay.
And
All
it was just one of those, yes, I love my sister, but mommy, why are you not being so hard on her than you are on me?
Yeah.
And I guess because he feels he's the oldest and she gets away with a lot, her being the youngest.
Yeah.
And he's verbalized more now that he's older,
Mm-hmm.
that he feels like she could say anything and I'll just believe her. But he's typical big brother. You
Mm-hmm.
know how so you know that sibling relationship. They always find they know what buttons to push to
Yep.
upset you.
Yep. That
So
is true.
he thinks now that they're older and they're back and forth, he feels I take her side more than his.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even a matter of me choosing sides, but I just feel like he thinks she could cry wolf and I'll come running. And
Wow.
then it's his fault, automatically his fault. But then I know on the same hand, it's both of them picking with each other. So it's not a matter of me picking favorites or blaming one over the other. I know they pick with each other equally.
Yeah, yeah. That's brother sister rivalry. I mean,
Yeah.
me and my brother are literally like 9 months apart, and we love to hate each other, and we hate to love each other. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things. So I totally, totally understand. So now you have your daughter. I'm sure, noticing, like little things as she's growing up, maybe as a baby. What was she having problems speaking quickly as you thought she would? Like, tell me a little about you and her journey of finding about her special needs.
She was like all her milestones were right on time. It's just that, like, when kids start talking, it's like, okay, maybe they'll grow out of it. But like the pre-K teacher at the time and pediatrician both noticed that her speech was slightly off, especially when she had to say L's and R's.
Mm-hmm.
And she had trouble retaining information. Like you could say, go over stuff with her and like give her a break and come back to it. And it seemed like it was never done.
Mm. Mm. How early did they notice that?
So I'm gonna say she was about maybe 4 or 5 because she was in pre-K, so about 4.
Wow, that's actually good, to be honest with you. Were you receptive to that information? Because you know the stigma, sometimes parents don't want to hear, their
No,
children.
because I,
Go
no,
ahead.
because I feel like I was receptive to it completely. Because it's like if she needs that extra push and she needs that help, why not get her that help instead of letting her struggle
Yeah,
and fall behind?
yeah,
So I know there's a lot of parents that say that their child would be labeled, but it's not a matter of being labeled. I just feel it's a matter of the child needing that extra push
yes,
in
yeah,
their education. So you could always say, no, I don't want them to receive services anymore, sign off on it. But I feel like this why let them struggle when the help is available.
right, yeah, I get
Well,
that.
or some parents, yeah, and some parents may see there's something wrong, but they don't know how to go about getting those services or getting that ball rolling. They may not know who to talk to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think you being in a great school district as well was very helpful. I think it really depends to a large degree, where you live and the community that you're in and the resources that are available. But it sounds like they were very helpful from the beginning. So tell me, did you have to advocate a lot? And if so, like, what did you have to do in order for her and for you to make sure that she was getting all the tools necessary in order for her to succeed in these classes?
It was like once her pre-K teacher brought it to my attention, she gave me all the information on who I needed to contact to get that ball rolling. So
Mm,
once we did that, they gave us a list of like the speech therapy places that we could take her to for her to get her speech tested. So the school district was very great at getting us the information we needed so we could get the ball rolling. So
nice.
like even with the pre-K teacher, she said she wasn't sure the person's name, but she had it to me by the time I had to pick her up the next day. She
Okay.
had all the information I needed to get that ball rolling.
That's great. So they were on your side, willing to help you. Now,
Like
yeah, that's great. So once she's in these programs, did they actually diagnose her with something, specific, or it was just, speech? She had what, speech delay in speech?
they didn't diagnose her with anything specific. It was just like the speech language therapy that she was having trouble with the speech language aspect of her learning.
Hmm. Let me ask you,
So
is that similar to being dyslexic? Because you did mention that you were
I,
dyslexic.
it's like I didn't have any speech or language delays. It's just that like when I went to write, like I had difficulties writing, reading. So when I would go to write, I was writing faster than my thoughts could come out.
Okay.
Or if I would slow down, I could make the honest mistakes of writing numbers and letters backwards
Oh, wow.
and not realize it until the teachers looked at my paper.
Right. Right.
So her IEP, which is an individual education plan,
Mm-hmm.
is kind of similar to mine, even though she wasn't diagnosed dyslexic, no real diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
But I got extra time on tests. I got somebody to read my test to me. I got a writer so I could dictate my essays to someone and they would write down or type what I wanted to say.
Oh,
And
wow.
she pretty much gets the same thing. She gets the reader, the writer, the extra time.
Mm-hmm.
And if she needs to, she does the talk to text on her iPad.
That's
If
great.
they feel
Go ahead.
so it's like so those are the things. So hers is kind of similar to mine. And then they know like they're trying to do things to help her retain the information that is given to her. And they give us tools to use at home
Mm.
to help her retain the information to help with her reading, her writing, math, like whatever basic skills that they give throughout the day.
I love that. So, can you see, the growth, the development in her from all of these services that she has and the information that
Yes,
she's.
it doesn't say, even definitely like by the time she finished kindergarten, you could tell her speech was a lot better.
Wow, that's
And
great.
I mean, and it's like she even had trouble saying her own name, and like I couldn't get her to write her name to save my life. Within, I'm gonna say, the first 2 weeks of school, she came home writing her name, spelling her name verbally, and I looked at the sheet. I was like, "This, what did you do that I wasn't doing, or maybe it was just me?"
Right, right. No, I get
So
it.
like within the first 2 weeks of kindergarten, she had a like first and last name. She was able to write on her own, no issues. She came home spelling her name. And like I saw the difference from pre-K, because like pre-K, it was like pulling teeth to get her to tell me about her day.
Aw,
Versus us like now, like kindergarten, I would say kindergarten till present. How was your day? Or she'll come off the bus just talking, telling
right.
me how her day went, that kind of thing. And then she trips up because she's talking faster than she could get, like faster than her brain is allowing her thoughts to come out.
Mm-hmm. No, I get it. That sounds remarkable, actually. I love that. It obviously, to me, sounds like, whoever's teaching her, whoever her counselors or therapists are, they're really spending time with her and trying to pull all of that out of her. So I love that. Is this something that she can grow out of? I mean, considering she's getting all, the tools now and she's getting the therapy that she needs now for her speech, is this something that she can eventually grow out of?
Yes, it's something that she could grow out of.
Okay.
So being that she had an IEP meeting in March, they just want to keep that ball rolling. So she gets speech 3 times a week, 30 minutes a session.
Mm-hmm.
So for next school year, they'll cut it down to 2 sessions a week, same 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's her and like 3 other kids in the speech class with her. So they
Wow.
also it's not just her. So it's kids that are in that have similar situations or learning. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to say issues that she has
Yeah. The
to a
special
degree.
needs that she has, the special
Yeah,
abilities that she
yeah.
requires help with. Oh my goodness.
So 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 she's not singled out. So
Right.
it's like maybe 3 or 4 of them that will go at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So they can say they don't make her feel any different than the other kids.
Well, does she realize or know that she's in like maybe a special school for, to accommodate her special needs? Is she aware of that?
I think she's like in a generalized school, but I think she does realize that she's in a smaller class
Mm,
than everyone else. But she does do things with the kids in her grade.
good. Good.
So they don't like separate her from the kids in her grade. They'll do gym, lunch, whatever, like art library. They'll push her in with the fifth graders will do. She'll do fifth grade stuff with the other fifth grade kids.
Right. I see what you're saying. That is amazing. So tell me a little about what it takes from you. I mean, that, in addition to you being a sports mom and taking care of your son's activities that he has, I'm sure on a daily basis throughout the different seasons, how is it, being, this mother to this beautiful daughter who would just requires that little bit of extra attention?
I mean, it was an adjustment being that my son is gen ed. It was that adjustment that she needed a little bit more than he did
Right.
academically.
Right.
So I think that, in another sense, he also kind of felt that I was kind of not really like, he kind of felt like I was pushing him to the side and
Mm-hmm.
focusing on her academically more. But I had to sit down and explain to him, I was like, you can't compare yourself to your sister because your sister needs a little bit more help than you do.
Yeah.
And you do absolutely fine academically. You have stronger suits than she has.
Right.
So it's not like I'm ignoring you academically. She just needs a little bit more academically than you did.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. Do you get support from her dad? Is he in her life as well to balance, all of the work that you have to do with and for her?
So like they have the same father, so like he's in and like with both of them, he's in and out. But
Mm,
when he's there, he's there.
there. Okay, good. That's good. So
So
she
it's like
obviously sees that.
yeah, so they know that we're not together, but he has stepped up a little bit more than he has in the past.
Right. I see what you're saying. So you being a single mother to these two amazing kids, what is the best part of your job as a mother? And I want you to be honest. And then I want you to tell me some things that are a little challenging, that you wish you could be relieved of right now. So go.
And so, and it's like, I'm glad to see them grow, reach their milestones, and just have the opportunities to do stuff that some other kids may not have.
Hmm.
'Cause, like, I know with my son, he volunteers with South Hall Park Fire Department to get training for a firefighter and EMT. I
Nice.
wish I would. I wish I would have known that was available when I was his age, because I would have probably done it myself.
Yeah.
And Genesis is looking forward to being of age for her to do it as well.
Right. Right.
So it's like just like being there to see them reach their milestones, and just that unconditional love that they give.
Hmm.
And then it's like, I have some days where I wish I had every other weekend free, or had that time to have a couple of hours to myself, or, have more than that 2 hours maybe on a weekday outside of them being at a practice or a game.
Yeah.
So I could really just, get it together.
Right. I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. We all deserve that, my friend. Single parent, mom, no child. We deserve that. And you deserve it. You got to figure out a way to do it. I don't know. Maybe I have to come and kidnap you one day and I just take you somewhere upstate and we just have a spa day or something. But you do
Right,
have to do it because, again, you have a special heart for everything that you're doing. Not only, taking care of your son, raising a man in this world and making sure
right.
that you're, teaching him everything that he needs to not only be that protector, but also be safe himself, take care of himself and not just worry about others. We have to instill that in them as well. Go ahead. What was you going to say?
Luckily, he's a good kid. I've never had to go look for him, and he has more common sense than the kid his age. So if he comes in before curfew, I know something's up, and he decided it was time for him to go.
Wow.
Or if he sees that he's out and some of his friends aren't doing right, or people that are around just in general aren't doing right,
Mm-hmm.
he knows that it's time for him to come home. Because
Nice.
again, if being that he's usually the bigger one out of the bunch, he knows that God forbid anything hits the fan, they're gonna go for him first.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just to avoid having that conflict or that trauma, he just comes home.
Yeah. No, I get it. I want to speak
And
to your son
luckily,
one day. I want to have him on the show, so he could just tell me a little about what his life is as a teenager right now in these streets. Because it's hard to navigate, and you want to be cool, but at the same time, you want to be smart. And I know that
right.
that's a fine line sometimes to kind of walk. But he sounds like a really good kid, and again, from me meeting him a few months ago, I could tell that you did a really, really good job. You really did. And you should be commended as a single mom.
Yeah, and it's like luckily he has a set of friends that they're all a good set of kids and they're all into the same things. So
Yeah.
I feel that kind of made it a little bit more easier. And I always tell him it always takes one person to mess everything up.
Yeah. That is very true. What about your daughter? What does her friend group look like?
She has her best friend actually lives around the corner. They're the same age in the same school.
Okay.
So they're the ones that they do everything together.
Nice.
So I mean, even down from like they started in Girl Scouts together, they did dance together, track, soccer. So a
Mm,
lot of like the outside, and then we try to find time for them to hang out in between activities.
right. That's good. That's good. And you, please, I hear they have a nice full social life. You too, my friend,
Yeah,
need that social life. I am so serious.
yeah.
We are mothers. We are giving. We are pouring into our children. We are constantly moving and making things happen. You need that social time with your girlfriends as well. You know that, right?
Right. Yes,
Okay.
and my mother says the same thing, and not to have somebody calling my name 50 times.
And if they are, let's hope they're giving you a check. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Well, listen, let me ask you, tell me what you would like to share with the single moms out there, because you know we go through a lot. We just had Mother's Day. Some of us are doing it alone. And sometimes even if we're with someone, we're still kind of feel alone. So, share with me, what would you like to, or share with the viewers what you would like to say about being a single mom.
I feel like there's no real handbook on raising a child. You have to do what works for you and yours. Because what works for me and mine may not work for you. And I feel like it's just be open to suggestions from other moms, even though there's like a huge age difference. It's not like, you know, we're telling you what to do because you're a new mom.
Hmm.
We're just trying to give suggestions to see if that would help, you know, with you and yours. If it try it, if it doesn't help, then you know to try something else
Hmm.
because not everything that works for one may not work for the other.
Hmm.
And it's one of those like if you know you have that one friend that you could call, and you know you need to talk to somebody, pick up the phone. Don't be scared to call to vent, or if you know you just need to sit on the phone with somebody and just cry,
Yeah.
even if you don't say anything. You should always have that one close friend, relative, somebody that know you could just sit on the phone with them and cry, and they don't judge you for it.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I love that. Go ahead.
Or if you have that one neighbor that you know maybe you need to leave your child with, except like that close one neighbor that you trust, for you to take that 10-minute walk to clear your head, it's okay.
Hmm. Yeah, it really is. I love that you said that, because that's important. And we can't keep carrying the heavy burden every day, not thinking that our life is hard. Raising two kids, doing it alone. Working a full-time job. Caring for others and their issues and their problems. It's a lot, and we need support sometimes, and sometimes it could just be an ear for someone to listen to what you have to say, and for you to vent, and for you to cry, and that's it. So I hope you're taking advantage of that too, my friend, because I don't know, you seem like a superwoman. You seem like you be doing everything all day. Do not really give yourself a break. So I'm really serious. You better be doing it, Nina.
Like I have two friends that I know I could call if I just need to cry or we just need to vent. I know I have those two friends that I could call.
Okay, good. All
And
right.
vice versa, I know if they needed to, they could call me.
Right. All right. Excellent. All right. Well, now that I know you open to that, I might have to give you a call when I'm going through that movie myself. So listen, also we know you're a mother of special, beautiful daughter, Genesis. Speak to those mothers out there who, don't necessarily, have a problem caring and having that special heart for their child, but just tell them how important it is for them to maintain that softness that you developed when you had her.
Like having that softness is definitely important because you don't want, I just feel like for a girl, you don't want them to always see that hardness because that hardness may be discerning to them and then they feel like they always have to be hard. They always have to be on the rougher side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's not always the case because you don't always have to be rough. And
Mm-hmm.
I guess it depends on your circumstances that you may have to be rough, but it's okay to have that softer side to you
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes that softer side may, or you could adapt that softer side may pull in something for you to network. You never know what that softer side can bring to your inner circle or
Yeah.
your inner peace in itself.
Yeah. I love that.
So
Thank
like, so like being hard is not always the thing to do, not
you.
always the thing to be for a female.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I believe that. I said sometimes I do. I agree. We need to show our soft, feminine side. We don't have to be the independent, strong woman all the time. I mean, we could walk it.
Right,
We don't always have to talk it, is I guess my
right.
my message. But anyway, I like to thank you so much, my friend Nina, for being here. You have been amazing. Thank you for just opening up to us and sharing a little about, your experience and your journey as a single mother. Please, just, would you like to share anything? Leave us with anything before you go?
Like as a mom or just like as a caring individual. I'm gonna say always try to leave your heart and your eyes open because you never know what might come your way. You may come across that one person that could be a complete stranger that just may need to sit down and talk to somebody.
Hmm. Yeah. Yes. You're
So it's okay to be that listening ear, even if you never run into that person again in your life. Sometimes you never know who's going through what behind closed doors, and they may need that one person
yeah.
that they could just decompress with.
Yes, I agree. Those are good words, my friend. You've been amazing, Nina. Thank you so much for being here. You know you will be back, my friend. So I don't know when
Yeah.
we'll figure it out. I'll give you some dates, but don't go anywhere because we're gonna get real quick to the Dare to Be You. And the Dare to Be You is: a mother's love is like a garden. Her children are the seeds, and as they grow, she tends to them, fulfilling all their needs. Wherever there is beauty, a mother's love is there. And that is what we have been saying, my friend. Nurturing, guiding, protecting, loving, pouring into our children. That is what this beautiful lady has been doing, Nina, with her two children, Jacob and Genesis, giving them the special kind of love that they need, doing it all as a single mother, but planting the seeds in them for them to be amazing, wonderful, successful, and well-rounded, fulfilled children. So let's go out there and do the same. And also keep just empowering them with that voice. Let them know how important they are. Let them know how much they mean to you. But more importantly, also show it. Right, Nina?
Yes, always.
That's right, always. Thank you so much, my friend, for being here. You have been a beautiful mother's heart to talk to. I want to thank you guys out there for joining us for another episode of Your Our Unity. Please remember that peace and love is in the palm of our hand. Let's go out there, be some love, share some love, and give some love every single day. We will see you next week on Your Our Unity. And again, remember to remember those people that are no longer in your life today, but bring them to life in yours for tomorrow. I want you to have a wonderful evening, and we will see you next week. Say good night, Nina.
Good night.
See you later. Love you guys.
Strong Island Entertainment.